Good morning, Bridge Kids. Welcome back. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Miss Missy, and usually I teach the 2 and 3-year-olds at our South Campus. But right now, while we can't be at our church building, it's been a lot of fun for me to make these videos for all of you that are listening at home, all of you preschool kids that get to have these lessons right from your house. So today we're going to start with a brand new Bible verse. This comes from Psalm 147:5. And to start, you're going to make an L shape with these two fingers, L for Lord, and we're going to say, "Great is our Lord." Then you're going to make your muscles like we often do and say, "And mighty in power." Then you're going to touch your head and say, "His understanding has no limit." Understanding means what you know, and a limit is kind of like an end. So when we say that God's understanding has no limit, that means He knows everything. Let's try the whole thing all together. Make your L shape with these fingers. Great is our Lord, and mighty in power. His understanding has no limit. Psalm 147:5. One more time. Great is our Lord, and mighty in power. His understanding has no limit. Psalm 147:5. Good job. I like that verse a lot because that verse helps us remember that God is great, God is powerful, and God knows everything. My understanding has limits. I don't understand everything, but God's doesn't. That makes me think of a song that we like to sing together. He's got the whole world in His hands. That means God is taking care of everything, and we can trust Him. Goes like this. He's got the whole world in His hands. 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 And then we say, the wind and the rain. He's got the wind and the rain in His hands. He's got the wind and the rain in His hands. He's got the wind and the rain in His hands. He's got the whole world in His hands. And for the next part, we're going to do, He's got you and me. And the first time we'll say brother, and then we'll say sister, and then we'll say brother again. Ready? He's got you and me, brother, in His hands. He's got you and me, sister, in His hands. He's got you and me, brother, in His hands. He's got the whole world in His hands. Very good. When I think about wind and rain, I think about storms. Wind and rain are in storms. And right in front of me here, I have this container of water with this ball floating on it. And we are going to make a pretend storm right here on this container of water. So the first thing that made me think of storms was wind. And you know what wind is, right? Wind is air that's blowing. So when you're outside and there's wind, you might feel the wind in your hair. If your hair is a little bit longer, it might blow in the wind. You might see the wind when you look out at trees, and all of a sudden you see the branches and the leaves moving back and forth. That's the wind making them blow. You might see the wind when there's leaves on the ground, and the wind might move a leaf from this part of your yard way over to this part of your yard. In the fall, we like it when the wind moves the leaves from our yard over to our neighbor's yard. We don't like it so much when they come from the neighbor's yard back to our yard, but the wind can blow things like leaves all the way across the ground. You can make pretend wind by blowing air out of your mouth. So kind of like you're blowing out a birthday candle. Can you try blowing air out of your mouth with me? Ready? kind of like the wind. It's blowing air. So for our pretend storm, I am going to see if I can blow air on this ping pong ball and see what happens when I do it. Let's see. Whoo, there it goes. Let's blow it this way. There was some wind that made the ping pong ball move across the water. The second thing in that song was the wind and the rain. Of course, you know what rain is. Rain is water that comes down from the sky. And sometimes the rain just sprinkles down very gently. And sometimes the rain comes down very fast and very hard. And if you don't have an umbrella, you will get very, very wet out in the rain. So, let's add some rain to our pretend storm. I have a watering can. So let's start and see what happens to our ball here. Whoops, that was kind of a messy rain. Let's try to get the ball. Little trickle. Even the rain is kind of moving the ball around. Ooh, it's raining harder. All right, so we had some rain in our storm. This ball is kind of having an exciting time out on the water, isn't it? The third thing that I think of when there's a storm out on water like this, like if this is a lake, it wasn't in our song, but it's something that I bet you've seen before. If you've been to Lake Michigan or out on the ocean and suddenly you see what? Waves, right? The water kind of goes up and down like this. And if you are on a boat in the water and there are waves, your boat will go up and down. And if you're anything like me and you go up and down in a boat on the water, you will not feel good. It's called seasick, when you just do not feel good when you're out going up and down. So to make waves for our little ping pong ball on the water here, I'm gonna try to kind of upset the water and see if I can make it start making some waves. Let's see. Woo! That's moving it around too, isn't it? It's getting a little wet. So when we had our pretend storm on this ball in our pretend lake, it really had kind of an exciting wild ride, didn't it? And something that you can think about doing the next time you take a bath, if you have toys that float like this on the water, you could make a pretend storm in the bathtub. You could try to blow things across the water. If you have a watering can, you could make rain come down. You could make some waves, as long as you keep that water in the bathtub, right? So kind of don't splash too hard on the water. But you could do a pretend storm too. We today are going to hear about a storm that came when Jesus was out on a boat with his friends, the disciples. But before we hear that story, let's do one more thing to get our wiggles out. We're going to make one more pretend storm. And we're going to start, so you can't see, but I'm going to gently tap the tops of my legs like it's gentle rain coming down. Can you tap your legs with me? Another thing in the storm, we're going to make some wind. Can you blow some air with me? Good job. Next thing we're going to have in our storm, have you ever been in a storm where you hear thunder and it makes kind of a boom boom sound? We're going to try to stomp our feet and make some pretend thunder. Ready? Can you stomp your feet? There. And of course, another thing we need, the rain needs to come down nice and hard, so we're going to clap our hands really loud and really fast, like it's a big rainstorm. Ready? Good job, perfect. Now to listen, would you fold your hands and put them in your lap, and we will listen to our story today. "Come," said Jesus, "get into the boat. Let's go for a ride." So Jesus got into the boat, And Jesus' friends got into the boat. Splash went the little waves. Splash, splash. Jesus' friends began to make the boat go. Pull, push, pull, push. But Jesus was tired. He lay down in the back of the boat and he went to sleep. Now, while the boat was going, the wind started to blow. Can you blow the wind? It blew the men's hair. It blew their clothes. It blew the water. Look, there's some waves starting, and the water's starting to splash in. Uh-oh. Soon, the little boat was rolling on the waves, up and down, up and down. The storm was getting bigger. Then some water came into the boat. Splash went the big waves. Splash, splash. Jesus' friends were wet. They were afraid too. Let's tell Jesus, they said. Save us, Lord. Wake up. Wake up. Jesus opened his eyes. He saw the water splash. He heard the wind blow. But he said, "Why are you afraid? I'm here." Then Jesus talked to the wind. He talked to the water, and he said, "Shh, be still." And do you know what happened? The wind stopped blowing. The water stopped splashing. They both got as still could be. Jesus' friends looked around. Everything was quiet and safe. "Who is Jesus?" they said. "Even the wind and the water do what he says." I know who Jesus is. Do you? Jesus made the wind. Jesus made the water. Jesus is God. Boys and girls, no regular person could walk out in the middle of a storm and just say, "Stop," and have everything stop just like that. Jesus is God. And you know what? Sometimes I need to be still and remember that Jesus is God. And that reminds me of one of our other songs we sing together. Let's sing together, "Be still and know that I am God." Ready? Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Let's do one more thing together. Can you cup your hands out like you're holding water that you don't want to spill? And we're going to have a blessing from God. May you follow Jesus all of your days and remember that he is God. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.